Hey, what's up, everybody? Psycho going over my Mara one pull strategy. It's a great way to boost characters. If you have alts on another account or friends with lower level characters, it's a great source of income. Currently on my server, they go for 10 gold per run. And then you generate gold just from the drops that you get there. Now, I personally don't loot during my runs. I typically only run guildies. I'll charge them a little bit less, and I just leave it on free for all loot because I know I can trust them. If anything good should drop, they'll forward it to me. Um, but if that's not what you want to do, if you want to sell it to the public, I would recommend changing the loot style from free for all or group loot. You go to group loot, but then you change the threshold if you want to rare. And that way, uh, your boostees, they'll get to pick up every green that drops. No roll prompt will happen, but if a blue or a purple drops, a roll prompt will then happen. If I am doing like runs for the general public, I'm typically have another character in there on another account, and I will typically leave that character just behind so that if that stuff drops, they can roll on it. It's a little bit risky because, you know, uh, the boosties could also roll on it, but that's why I tend to just stick to only running guildies. I know I can trust those people, I can save time, and just have a smoother experience. Uh, Now, before we get started, it's very useful to have the Maraudon Scepter, Scepter of Celebros, so that you can get to this inner Maraudon starting point. This allows you to pull the entire side of purple without having to run through purple to the end of it first. It is possible to do it the other way, it just takes a lot more time. Things that I use for the run, you can see I have 6,000 mana, 3,400 health. Health isn't too much of a factor, and really neither is mana, because you should be generating mana back from the sprites. Also, your gear, spell damage isn't really a big deal. Most of this is all in the spec and technique. So for a spec, I have I guess it's like kind of a standard, like Scarlet Monastery one pull. It's the one pull spec where you get magic absorption and then 4 out of 5 clear casting, and then kind of just deep frost with getting, improved wizard's the important one, but all the other stuff that goes along with that too. Ice barrier, super important. Basically everything but winter's chill and frostbite. All right, so that's the spec, that's the gear. Consumables, bandages are very useful to have as a backup. You don't always need them, but it's nice to have them when you do. Major healing potions, same thing, If you accidentally, catch a few blows from the mobs early enough into the run, you can go ahead and drink one of these and it might help save a run. And then nature protection potions. You don't need these. They're not necessary, especially if you're level 60. Um, I run a little bit of nature resist gear, but I don't run a ton of it. I've only got 40 nature resist, and then whenever I swap to mage armor at the end, it's 55. It's not a ton. Uh, these I've found are just enough cushion to make my runs very smooth. I used to have problems with sprites breaking through my armor, my ice barrier, and then they would be, cutting my blizzard cast down, and that became an issue where things were not getting slowed, and then my pack that I had been creating so tightly was starting to spread out, and it turned my runs sloppy. But using these relatively cheap potions, uh, just helps the runs go a lot smoother. So I recommend using it, but it is not required. Other than that, we're just using Mana Ruby, Mana Citrine. I find that I don't even use them most runs, but it's good to have them in case you do need them. So We start the run at the snakes. We buff ourselves up. Top off our mana. So most of this pool, I remember whenever I was learning this pool, it was very, very overwhelming because you might not know Maraudon that well, and so you're kind of in a foreign environment and you're making kind of all these weird turns through tunnels, and in the moment, whenever you have a train of like over 100 or 200 mobs on you, it's very intimidating. I'll tell you the trick to doing this is you're using 5 different spells to pull things, and you're blinking at semi-precise moments. It doesn't have to be exact, but once you kind of get into a rhythm of it, you kind of find out exactly where you need to be blinking, and you're not dropping aggro on mobs, and you're not getting hit. And the spells that you're using to pull is Frost Nova, Cone of Cold, Frostbolt, Counterspell, Fire Blast, Arcane Explosion. With a few exceptions, it kind of doesn't matter which spell you're using to pull. Typically, like they all have different ranges and they all do different things, but really at the end of the day, you just want to be pulling as many mobs as you can. Now, when you're learning this, don't be afraid to skip mobs because you're still kind of getting your technique. You're getting down really your pathing. Once you get kind of that to where you can get to the end, the kill cycle, and survive, then you can kind of start expanding and trying to pick up more packs. But really, at the beginning, it's hectic. You're not sure what button to press. You're not sure what turn to take. Should I blink now? Kind of just make it easier on yourself. Don't feel like you need to pull every pack. But I've been doing this long enough. I'm pretty confident that I'm pulling every pack in purple side. Now I'm not doing the princess mobs because by doing that, my runs go over 15 minutes, so I'm not able to hit that lockout. And they just added difficulty level that is a little bit beyond me. So I just skip it. I'm good at these. Oh, you know what? This isn't a reset instance. Alright, we'll reapply our shields. We'll drink. And so what we're going to do here, I have improved Frostbolt. So with that and my wand, they're kind of interchangeable. But I just like to use the wand. It feels a little bit faster to me. Definitely feels like a second, where improved Frostbolt's a second and a half. So right here, anytime there's groups of mobs, you're going to be using Cone of Cold, Arcane Explosion, or Nova. There's a couple of differences between them. Nova is what you want to use whenever you're hitting a pack that's at the front and the train's behind you. By Novaing, you're rooting them in place, and then they will unroot to catch up with the train. We counterspell that far pack, and then we run over here, Fire Blast to grab that pack, and then blink. We turn and blink immediately, and that knocks our shields off. It'll hit your mana a little bit. Sometimes you might get hit in the HP department you might go down to 80%. That's the most I've ever seen. That little part is it's a little bit tense. It's pretty precision. You're wanting that counterspell to go off as fast as it can, so you can just turn around, and then you want that Fire Blast to go off as fast as it can, so you can just turn and blink. Right here, I'll reapply Ice Barrier. I don't do anything else. I don't blink. I don't Frost Nova, because you want your mana to regen as much as possible. Sometimes you can get away with not evocating at the spot that you normally evocate at, and that might be useful for during the kill phase if you have a bunch of Shamblers that have healed up. So saving evocation is possible, not necessary, but it is nice. So right here, once you get in the water, let me reapply my shields. So once I pass this tree, and before this tree, you want to reapply shields for cooldown purposes. Once you get about halfway, here, the snakes start following you again, and you're good to go. So this is a group of mobs, so I'm going to jump, and I'm going to Frost Nova, and then they will join with that train. I'm going to get max distance from this guy, and I'm going to wand him. Now these Shamblers all are linked, and so they will all pull each other, but sometimes their pathing gets a little bit weird and they won't. Here, we're just wanding. Fire Blast. I can't really think of something to grab that guy. But I'm going to counterspell because I want to save it for that guy, because he's really far. We're going to Nova here. Sometimes your shields are broken right here. This is a great time to reapply them. This guy's in a good position to Fire Blast. And then Cone of Cold. We're going to turn and blink up this hill. We'll reapply our shields. You can do it a little bit before then if you needed to. Right here, we're going to try to get right in between these two packs so we can jump Nova. Oh, look, we got the rare spawn. I'll mark him. We're going to counterspell here, turn and blink, and now all these Shamblers should pull each other. I like to just follow the wall to try to, you know, cut down the fastest route possible. We're going to just Fire Blast this guy, and then we're going to blink over here so that we can Arcane Explosion. We're going to face pull this mob. We're going to Fire Blast this mob. Now, right here, these mobs are super close to you. That is probably one of the highest, like, fatality points in the run, is right before you drop down. Once you drop down, you're in a good spot. I was at about 35% mana, so I'm going to go ahead and use the Evocate. We'll blink immediately, and we have enough time at this point to go into this side hallway over here. Now, if you need to bandage right there where you evocated, do that. You can skip this room. It's worth it to survive. But since I'm at full health, I don't need to bandage. I only evocated, so I have enough time to come down here. And you just kind of learn that from experience. So we use 2 Frostbolts and a Fire Blast. Use Arcane Explosion. Use Cone of Cold. Now, we're trying to save our Frost Nova for this pack up here. So I'm running to the end of this, and then I'm going to turn and blink, and that causes the mobs to stack on each other a little bit more. And a lot of the work that we're doing during this pull is trying to get the mobs to stack on each other. I'm going to turn. We're going to rank 1 Blizzard. Everything before the kill phase is rank 1 Blizzard. We're going to target this guy so we can counterspell him behind us. And, okay. He bugged out. That's fine. There's another point we can pick him up. It's just a little bit less good. So I blinked up that ramp a second ago. I don't want to blink past this point because this tunnel we're coming out of, when you're on top of it and the mobs are below it, they can hit you. So you want to be blinking over this tunnel. You can see all these names right there. We blink over it, they can't hit us. We drop a rank 1 Blizzard just to, you know, help them tighten up a little bit. We're going to do another Blizzard. Okay, they picked up. Then we're going to counterspell. Our shield just dropped, so we'll reapply that. We're going to Nova right here. Sometimes there's a couple of the tree guys who will be on you at that point. It's okay to tank 1 or 2 of the Stompers. That's fine. They don't hurt you. I think they might have a small chance to stun you. The Shamblers have a much larger chance to stun you, so you don't really want to be taking the Shamblers. But the tree guys, that's fine. Doing another rank 1 Blizzard right here. And then we'll just drop right off. Just drop right off. So at this point, I'm not trying to blink anything that's directly away from the mobs. I want to blink lateral to them. So right here, I know that they're moving in a line that is parallel to me. So blinking there, I don't risk dropping aggro on anything resetting. So here, we just toss out some rank 1 Frostbolts, and I should have blinked, I didn't, but I'll just save it for right here, and we'll blink out of here. Reapply our shields, and if we look, they were pretty close. It wasn't lethally close, they're close, it's good. So I'm going to do another one of these little 90-degree turns where I run as far as I can. Now I'm counterspelling to put that pack in with the rest of the train. Going to Nova here. And I'm going to do it. I call it a 90-degree turn, but this wall makes it awkward. Where I want to wait till the last second to blink, and it causes them to group up on each other. Oh, and I need to Fire Blast that guy. He's going to come up, and we're going to have to do something special for him in a second. Now, they're pretty close to me. You could Nova. I'm just going to blink. They're in a good group. I want to keep them in that group. So we'll just blink. But if you're ever worried, just Nova. It's okay to Nova. We'll reapply our shields. Now we're just going to run off here. We're going to face pull this guy, run up this route, come to right at this corner, and we're going to rank 1 Blizzard on this corner. And they're getting pretty tight, pretty tight. There's still some work to be done. Nova. Now with blinking, you have to go up the closest to the wall side of the stairs. You can't blink up the right side when you're going up them. Now, Arcane Explosion these fools. I missed one, but it's okay. We also need to reapply our Dampened Shield. It's such a long run that a 10-minute buff will run off. Now, right here, yeah, I could try to Blizzard. I wouldn't get much off. Just gonna wand that guy. Drop off. And now we're gonna wait. Here's that guy that we fire blasted. I'm gonna tank a couple hits from him. But ultimately, I'm going to Nova him right there so that I can Blizzard these guys. And now we're going... Oh, wow, he got out of that really fast. That's okay. That's okay. Blizzard wasn't as long as I wanted it, but... look at that. That's still a very tight pack. You saw how many mobs we just pulled? That's a very tight pack. For how many mobs that we're considering here. Now at this point, you can swap to your mage armor. You don't need ice armor anymore. Nothing should really be hitting you. And we want those resistances for the poison bolts. We're doing another 90-degree turn here. Just to keep them stacked up. And we're going to do one more rank 1 Blizzard right at this drop point. Just get them tight as we can. We could probably even skip this one. But, yeah, why not? It never hurts. It's never making them spread out, you know? Do it when you can. Okay, so we're going to blink. If you ever get, like, sometimes I've gotten, like, 4 corruptions at this point. Just Ice Block real quick. You don't use Ice Block ever in this pool. It's a great time to Ice Block. Drop all those dots so you can put your shields up. They're fresh. And this is where I use my Nature Protection Potion. It's safe to blink at this point. You don't need to save it for the tunnel. They're not going to be underneath you. So right here, I stand right next to this skeleton head, right here. Then max rank Blizzard. And we're going to do 3 Blizzards on their way up. We're going to do one at the start, then we're going to take a step forward, and then we're going to take a step to the left. Now my Blizzards, I skip the last tick. You can see on the channel bar, I'll stop it right there. I don't get that last tick, because at that last tick, that's when things are breaking out at the front. Man, got a lot of corruptions. So we drop down. By taking that step to the left, all these sprites moved up. They got line of sighted. This is all just corruption damage, so we're good. But we're going to reapply our shield. Just strafe and jump. Now, what happens if things go bad? And I'll just show you. If they get too close to you, if the pack gets too spread out, do this sooner than later. We also save these corruptors right here for backup mana if we need. So I've killed a bunch of our corruptors. Alright, so let's say they're about to pound on me. You run over here just to buy yourself some time, man. They're about to club you. You're at 20% health. Come down here. Reapply your shields. You should be good on mana because you've been getting mana back from these corruptors. Get back on your tree. Now everything's behind you. And you can just start blizzarding them from this way. And they're going to just run past you, go all the way past you, go down the ramp. And it's just an extension. So that is the safety net that once I learned that, man, these runs, they might get sloppy, but it made it so much more non-wipeable. You could still wipe, but it made it much less likely. Now the problem with that, and I wasn't able to illustrate it because I killed all the sprites. When you do that, and if there's a bunch of sprites up, they are all right now behind you, and you're not killing them. So I'm getting hit by 1 bolt, you know, every 4 seconds. That's fine. Getting hit by like 20 or 30 bolts every 4 seconds. They're eating through your shield. They're eating through your potion. The potion helps though. That potion is that cushion. See all these guys. Okay, yeah, these guys rejuvenate, and when you do that back loop around, that's when you might start hitting mana problems because Blizzard ain't cutting it. So when you're down to like 2 or 3 of these guys, I'll Frost Nova, Flame Strike them. If you're down to less than that, you just Frostbolt them. And that's it. The next MVP of this run is the add-on Speedy Auto Loot, Ludicrous Speeds. You download that, you go to your key bindings. Where's it at? Where's it at? Targeting? Not targeting. Oh man, I'm gonna look like a dude. Yeah. Okay, targeting. Interact with mouse over. So that's like, talk to an NPC, loot a body. I set it to my mouse wheel when I'm holding control. Then you just hold control. You just mouse wheel up and down, mouse wheel up and down, mouse wheel up and down, mouse wheel up and down. Just do this over and over. We're going to hear a lot of her talking, so I'm going to turn that off. That's how you loot this very fast. Now, like I said, whenever I'm doing this with guildies, I just run out at this point. I just leave and I start the next pool. That's from our rare spawn boy. It's a holy damage chess piece cloth for those discipline and holy priests out there. It does not increase healing, just damage. It's a weird one. This is way less loot because it's on group loot. Normally there is 3 times as much loot. But that's fine. We don't really want the loot from here. I actually in order to stay in here longer, I delete anything that's worth less than 50 silver. Just to give my bag space a little bit of longevity. So we'll keep that. We get rid of all the goos, all the broken weapons. I'll send the cloth off to alts. All the food, water. I'll keep all the herbs because herbs are useful, except for the cheap ones. Pick that up. Sell this. Sell for a gold. Yes, that's my Mara 1 pool. Time-wise, that one was 16 minutes because I popped a dampened magic right before I started. It's a little bit less than 16 minutes. But normally they're a little bit quicker than that. If I tab over right now, on my level 48 Unrested Warrior, that was 17,271 experience. The XP here, you can start it at level 35. It really takes off at level 42. Level 35, you're getting about on par with Scarlet Monastery XP. However, I find that I can do this run more reliable than I can do Scarlet Monastery. And so I'll go ahead and swap over to doing these at 35 because they're less of a headache, even though they're about the same XP. But you can stay in here until 54. That's when the XP drops off. It's 54 to 55. Then you want to move to probably ZG. ZG or BRD or Stratholme. I'm probably going to do ZG because that one's soloable and BRD's weird. Anyways, so that's my tutorial on how to do the Maraudon 1 run, 1 pool. Thanks for watching.